Hello everybody, welcome to episode number 40 of Driftless Knitting, which is my podcast all about knitting and yarn and fibery goodness. I'm coming to you from Cross Plains, Wisconsin, which is where I live here with my boyfriend, and I am officially a resident. I moved from La Crescent, Minnesota last week, and I'm officially a resident here. I'm no longer going between two apartments, which feels amazing. All of my stuff is here. I get to stay here, and while I desperately miss all the people I know back in the Winona area, particularly at Yarnology, which is the yarn shop that I worked at for almost 7 years, for those of you who are watching for the first time. I had to leave that job when I moved, but I really like it here. It already feels like home. So, and it helps that it's chilly today, and it was chilly yesterday, so I can kind of cozy in and really kind of make this feel really homey. So yeah, it's nice. So my name is Jennifer, for those of you who are watching for the first time, and you can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Driftless Knitter, and you can find the podcast group on Ravelry under Driftless Knitting, and that is where I put notes about the projects that I've done, the yarn that I'm using. If you have any questions or comments, you can put it there. I'll put up a thread for episode number 40. And you can write all of your queries and your comments on that thread if you'd like to. So yeah, I am bundled up a bit, sitting outside. I can't really do too much inside right now because, again, I live with my boyfriend. He works a night shift, and he is sleeping right now. So I brought all my stuff out here. I had breakfast out here, and now I'm just having another cup of coffee. It is chilly. It's like in the mid-50s right now, mid to high 50s, and there's a bit of a breeze blowing, but it's really not too bad. I have a sweater on, I have a shawl on, which I will talk about in just a second, and I actually have a blanket on my lap, just because it does get a little chilly if I'm not in the sun, which our deck is completely covered, like the one behind me. You can see it has a roof that goes all the way across it, so I don't really get much sunlight while sitting here, but I do have quite a beautiful view. I have a tree right there. There's more trees back here, and it just kind of feels like I'm in my own little tree house. I really, really like where this apartment is situated. And I'm drinking coffee out of a fairly new to me mug. This is from Crossroads Coffee House, which is the local coffee house here in Cross Plains, and I've been there a few times, but my dad and I met there for an afternoon, just to sit and chat and have coffee. He came up to visit me. He only lives about an hour away now, which is really awesome, and so he drove his motorcycle up here on a glorious, glorious day. We actually went for a little bit of a ride. And he drove that up to take in the scenic, picturesque farmland, and met me at the coffee house, and he actually bought me this mug to make me feel at home here in Cross Plains. So this is becoming one of my favorite mugs. I don't know why. I like the color, I like the feel of it. I know that's really weird, but I don't know, if it doesn't feel good in your hands, then I don't know. I feel like the ones that have a good shape and a good feel on the outside are my favorite mugs. So yeah, and it holds a lot of coffee. So let me talk quickly about the shawl that I'm wearing. Move my hair out of the way. So this is called Frozen Leaves, and for those of you who have watched in the past, this is a pattern that I designed to go with a special colorway that was dyed specifically for Yarnology by Lisa of Three Sisters Fiber Company. and this colorway is no longer available. It was available last fall and winter, and I don't know if, I'm pretty sure she's going to do another one for this like late fall. I think it came out in November of last year, and we sold it November, December, January. So I don't know if they're going to do another one, but I'm pretty sure they are. I'll let you know, because I'm going to still be totally updated on everything that happens at the shop. I'm going to be texting them like crazy. I'm going to be visiting all the time, so yeah, I'll still have the scoop. So this is a pattern that I designed to go along with the yarn and the inspiration for the yarn. It was a picture of leaves that were kind of like crystallized with ice around them, and really pretty grays and browns and tans. So the color came from that, and then I designed the shawl around it. So this lace section at the bottom, which is just a nice little embellishment, is a leaf pattern, and you can't see it too well like this, but oh, and I don't want to take it off, so I'm sorry. It's kind of awkward. But anyway, and then it has eyelets throughout the whole shawl, and it's really big and really cozy. This shawl took, I believe, about 600 yards to make, and it's just a really big triangular shawl with that scallopy lace at the bottom. If you're interested in this pattern, it is for sale up on Ravelry, and if you search for Frozen Leaves, you'll be able to find it in my Ravelry shop. And yeah, it's a really fun pattern to knit, and it's keeping my neck really nice and warm right now. Okay, so let's get into some more knitting, shall we? I have a couple works in progress, and actually I have a finished object, and then I have a little bit of some stash enhancements, acquisitions, gifts, a little bit of everything, so hold tight. Okay, the first, okay, I'm not going to show you this one yet. The first work in progress that I'm going to show you, I did talk about this last week, but I had not started it quite yet. So I'll show you my progress on this. This is going to be a Christmas present for my mom, and it is a big, super bulky, and the yarn just fell, blanket. So it's really scrunched up on the needles right now. I think this is a 32-inch, size 19. So really big needles. Not my favorite, but it's making the blanket go super fast. And yeah, about a 32-inch, I think. These are just the Knitter's Pride, I think it's Knitter's Pride Basics, which is just like a cedar wood. They're not really, they're nice, but they're not like high-end or anything. In this blanket, I'm just doing like a 2x2 rib, and you can see how much that's going to stretch out of here. And it's going to be a beautiful, cozy, warm lap blanket for her, and it's going to match her living room quite well. The colors of my mom's living room are like a latte brown, tannish color on the walls, but then they have an accent wall of like a cranberry red, and I'm going to add a couple stripes on one side of this in a burgundy cranberry color. So I'm really excited about that. The yarn I'm using for this is Cascade Magnum, which is a super bulky 100% wool yarn, and you can see it's a single ply, and it's really fluffy. There are times where I don't think I've ever become afraid that it's going to break, but it's spun super loosely. So it kind of looks like I have a mustache. Spun very loosely, and I think if I were to untwist it and pull, it would just completely come apart. So I'm not going to do that, but it wouldn't be hard to get it back together. I could just, it's wool, so I could like spit splice it and stuff, but yeah, very loosely spun, almost like roving. And I've worked with Magnum before, and I really like it. It's definitely woolly, but it's not scratchy. You know, I don't know if I'd want it like on the really, like this part, my head can be kind of sensitive, or like on my neck. I'm not sure if I would wear it next to those spots, but in a blanket that's just going to be over you, it's going to be really warm and cozy. So I was even working on this last night, and I don't have, as you can see, I don't have a whole lot of it done yet, but it was on my lap. Parts of it were resting on my lap as I was knitting it, and it was so warm. It was already warm, and it's tiny, so I can't imagine what it's going to be like when you're able to just cover up completely with it. I think she's really, really going to like it. So that one has been going well. I can't knit for like hours and hours on that because my hands do start to cramp a little bit. Large needles, I'm so sorry about the lighting. Let me see if I can pick up some more sun. Yeah, it's dark under here, sorry guys. What was I saying? Can't remember. Needles, yes, the big needles. Okay, so I like, they're okay to work with, but if I am knitting with them for too long, my hands just really start to cramp up. I knit maybe a dozen rows, which doesn't seem like a lot, but it does take me a lot longer on those big needles to get through a row. I really can't knit the same way. My hands have to kind of be in a different position. I can't pick quite as fast, and so yeah, it just really slows me down. So I have to stop after a while and just give my hands a break. And last night I did do that. I knit on that for maybe an hour or so, and then I went and knit on my next work in progress, which I'm so excited about this. So this work in progress is being housed in a very special bag, and this bag is from my friend Carolyn. I bought it at her yarn shop that she is kind of co-running with her friend Kate. And she sewed this up. It has cows on it. So I saw one in this fabric, which is, maybe I'll turn inside out in a second, but as you can see, hopefully, it's all sorts of little, they look like little advertisements from like milk and dairy companies, which I thought was super adorable, especially because, for those of you who don't know, my boyfriend's family runs an organic dairy farm, and I love to spend time out there. It's probably one of my favorite places to be, like, in the world. So we spend a lot of time out there. That's kind of where we really, really bonded. I'd go out and help with chores and just kind of observe what he did. That was, it still is a huge part of his life. He obviously grew up there, but then he worked full-time on his dad's farm for a few years and was working there full-time when we met. And so I really got a chance to experience that part of Seaver's life, and that farm really became special to me as well. So I am obsessed with cows and anything, that kind of relates to the farming life, and so this bag had to come home with me. Yeah, I saw a bag with just the milk print, and then I spied the bag with the cows on it as well, and yeah. Long story short, I now own it. So this, I didn't even mention the name of the yarn shop that Carolyn and Kate run and own is called Unwound, and it is in La Crosse, Wisconsin. And it's a cute little shop, and they have been open for just over a month now. and I think it's going well. They have, it's really a fun place. Seems like a very fun place to be. So that's very exciting. And then Carolyn and Kate also have a podcast. Don't think that they have any recent episodes up just because of the shop has been taking up, obviously, as it should, most of their time right now. And so they do have a podcast called Chain 344. But yeah, you can go back and watch past episodes. They're really funny together. They make a really good team. So you should definitely do that. So the project that's in here, the one that I have so cryptically alluded to, is being knit out of, I can't decide what order I want to go in, being knit out of this gorgeous yarn, which you can't really see the true colors of. I wish you could because it's gorgeous. This is from Lisa of Three Sisters Fiber Company. I am obsessed with her yarn, not just because she is one of my very, very good friends, but also because her yarn is gorgeous. It's gorgeous. So this is called Fall on the Farm. I don't know why I thought leaning into the camera would help you see it better, but you never know. Oh, the lighting. Okay, so there are reds and oranges and blues and greens, and it is just the most incredible skein of yarn ever. I love it. She gave me 2 of these. Hang on, I'm going to move the camera quick. Hold on. No, it still doesn't pick it up. In the sunlight, it's like glowing. And it's just not even showing up on the camera. That is so disappointing. Okay, moving it back. So she had given me she had given me a skein of this way back last year when I started the podcast. By the way, guys, my podcast anniversary is coming up. I think the next episode will be 1 year since I started this podcast, which is super exciting. So, you can kind of see it a bit there. All the colors. Sorry, super distracted today. Anyway, she had given me a skein of this to give away on the podcast as I believe my first ever giveaway. And when I saw this skein of yarn, I basically told her I needed both of them because I had to keep one. And so she told me to just hold off and she would give it to me for like Christmas or something, which she did end up doing. So I have been waiting for a special occasion to knit this, and I decided that it was the perfect time of year. Obviously the colorway is called Fall on the Farm, and my friend Tiffany from the Woolen Homestead podcast and Etsy shop is doing a kind of fall knit along. It's called October is My Favorite Color, and basically all you have to do is knit something that is autumn fall related. And she does have a colorway, and it's gorgeous, a colorway called My Favorite Color is October. And if you use her yarn, you get like double entries, but it's not a requirement to use her yarn. So I thought this yarn would be perfect. And then the lovely Kay from the Crazy Sock Lady podcast came out with a new sock pattern recently. And I decided I wanted to give it a go. So her sock pattern is called Rhinebeck is Calling, and it's this beautiful sock with, kind of has this eyelet motif going down it with a little bit of texture, which is created by like a seed stitch. And while you can't see the pattern too well yet, you will be able to when I put it on my leg, on my foot. So I'm actually knitting this one cuff down. So it'll be like this, which is not something that I often do. I actually have only knit one pair of adult socks from the cuff down and a few pairs of baby socks cuff down, but that's like way different. So I'm kind of excited to be trying something new. All of my other socks that that I've knit, which I've knit quite a few pairs, are all toe up, and I'm just kind of excited to try a new technique. I mean, not that it's like drastically different, but the heel, I'll have to figure out what heel I want to use. It's just thinking of it in a different way instead of trying it on and kind of measuring it up my foot. I'm gonna have to think about it, going from the heel to my toe and how long it has to be from there. Yeah, so it's just gonna be a little bit of a different way of thinking about my socks, which that's good. I shouldn't get in a rut this early in my knitting life. So I have a progress keeper on there, and that's from the Gnome Knitter, and it is a pumpkin spice scone. So this is like my ultimate fall project. I've got the fall colorway. I've got the Rhinebeck is Calling socks, which Rhinebeck is always in October, and I was lucky enough to go to Rhinebeck. It'll be 2 years ago this October, and just saying the word Rhinebeck makes me think of beautiful trees changing color and a crisp bite in the air, an apple pie and hot coffee. When we went 2 years ago, it was freezing and actually snowed one of the days. We got out of the car and looked up and there were snowflakes coming down, and just that area of New York was just unbelievably gorgeous in the fall time. It was so much fun. So Rhinebeck is Calling reminds me of all of that and makes me think of autumn. And then with the pumpkin spice going on there too. I'm so excited for fall, you guys. It's kind of ridiculous. I had a apple cider candle going last night, and I was all bundled up in my pajamas. I kept the door open for a while, even though it was so cold. It got, so cold compared to how it has been. It was like in the low 50s, high 40s last night. So yeah, it was a bit chilly, but I wanted to be all snuggly, so I kept the door open and had a blanket on, and yeah, it was really cozy. So I'm super excited for fall. Okay, so I'm gonna readjust myself here. Oh, my coffee's starting to get cold. Okay, I have a finished object, and I don't even think I showed this to you last time I podcasted, which was a week ago Sunday. I started this, I believe, Wednesday of last week, so a week ago today. Today is Wednesday the 6th of September, I believe. Yes. So this is another version of my hat that I just designed, which is called Off the Wheel. And I don't know if you can see, it's got this really cool texture on it. It's actually an interrupted seed stitch, which I am obsessed with. I think I'm obsessed with seed stitch, you guys. I've never minded it, but for some reason I want to do everything in seed stitch right now. It's kind of crazy. So I knit this one out of Malabrigo Arroyo, and the colorway is called Reflecting Pool. And again, the lighting's not the best, but it's this just beautiful tealy blue, watery blue, and it's just got that little bit of tonal changes in there. And I wanted to show this hat off in something that wasn't hand spun yarn. So the first one I did, that's pictured up on Ravelry, because again, this one is for sale on Ravelry as well. The first one I did was knit out of my handspun yarn in a heavy DK light worsted weight. I wanted to knit a hat that would work well with handspun yarn, just because a lot of my handspun is variegated, it's barber poled, and it's not going to show off well with like a cable or a lace or something like that. It's those patterns are just going to get lost in all the color that's happening. So I wanted to do a lightly textured hat that would just be really fun to knit and would look good with the handspun yarn. So I knit this, and this one that I did is a bit more of a slouchy hat. As you can see, it's just taller than your normal beanie. The first one I knit was just the regular beanie size, but I did put in the pattern a adaptation if you wanted it to be slouchy. So yeah, so I wanted to knit that, and I really, really want a fur pom-pom on top. Probably faux fur, because A, the fur ones are super expensive, B, I'm not really too crazy about the real fur pom-poms, but yeah, so I want a fluffy fur pom-pom on top of here, and I think it would be super, super cute. So I did leave a long thread going down from the middle, so that if I do get fur pom-pom, I can easily attach it if it doesn't have a string on the actual pom-pom. I'm not sure where I'm going to get it yet, so you never know. So just to be safe, I left an end, and I still have to block this. It does stretch quite a bit, so like the brim looks super small right now, but that's going to stretch out quite a bit. And yeah, I'm just really excited. I really like how the seed stitch and the pattern came out with this tonal yarn. Oh, there you go. You can see it there. Super cute. So again, this is Off the Wheel. It's up on Ravelry. Go check it out if you'd like to. It doesn't have to be knit and hand spun, as I'm explaining right now. It's just a really, really fun hat to knit, and this took me like 3 days to do, so it does not take long at all. This pattern is, sorry about that. This pattern is really addicting, so yeah, I love it. This will not be the last one I knit. Okay, while we're talking about patterns of mine, and obviously, yeah, I showed you this one, I showed you that one, I'm going to show you one more. And I've showed this on the podcast before as a finished object, but I just got the pattern written up and put up on Ravelry last night. And this is the baby blanket that I knit. And this again is for my college roommate, Amber, who is having a baby in November. And her nursery colors are gray and yellow, so I wanted to do like an ombre style blanket. This is also knit in seed stitch. Surprise, surprise. I think this is what hooked me on the seed stitch. And I loved knitting this so much. It's such a simple knit, but for some reason it got me hooked. Oh my gosh, it's so much fun. So I did 3 colors, as you can see. I gradiated, I ombre'd them. Anyway, I changed color from one to the other by switching out a strand of yarn. It is done with 2 strands throughout the entire thing, and it is just so squishy and warm and lovely and wonderful. And the pattern, which is called Kickapoo Baby Blanket, is up on Ravelry, and it's a free pattern, you guys. It's a free one. I'm sorry that my phone keeps dinging, but this is a free pattern. Okay, so go check that out. It's so easily customizable. If you want it to be wider, if you want it to be longer, if you want one of your own and you want to do like 6 colors instead of 3 and make it like double the width, totally do it. Do it, honestly. I kind of want to do one myself, so that would be awesome. But if you do want the exact numbers, how many I cast on, how much yarn it took, all that stuff, go on Ravelry, look up Kickapoo Baby Blanket. I'll put it down at the bottom just in case you don't know how to spell that. And yeah, download it because it's free. Okay, that's exciting. Next, I'm going to show you some pretty cool things that are now in my yarn stash. So my last couple days of work at Yarnology, we had a sale on fingering weight yarn because that's my favorite weight of yarn, and we wanted to do something kind of like in honor of the time I've worked there and just as a kind of a fun thing. Instead of focusing on me leaving, it would be just a fun thing to do. So we had a sale on fingering weight yarn, and because of that, Lisa brought in a ton of yarn from her shop, which is Three Sisters Fiber Company. And that, as you know, is my weakness. I love her yarn so much. So, you will not be surprised that I ended up buying a couple for myself, even though it was supposed to be for everyone else, but I couldn't pass this up. So the first one that I saw, I was taking the yarn out of the bag and, let me fix that, and kind of laying it out on the table because people were wanting to look through it, and I saw the skein of yarn and immediately grabbed it and just put it on the counter. I'm like, nope, that's not even gonna go out. That's coming home with me. And you won't be surprised because it is just like almost everything else that I buy. It's teal and brown speckles on a white background, and it is insanely gorgeous. I mean, so good. It's so good. It was even prettier in the skein, like in the hank. But now that I don't work at a yarn shop, I'm not there every day, I don't have a Swift or ball winder, and so I didn't know when I was going to want to use this, so I caked it up right away. This is on her authentic sock base, which is merino, 75% merino and 25% nylon, I believe. And I forget what the colorway name was. It did have a name, but I cannot remember what it was. Something about the coast, maybe? I can't remember. But it's so gorgeous. So I don't know what I want to do with this. It might become socks, it might become a shawl. It might go in my fade. I have to relook at my fade because this would really fit in with those colors. It could go in my fade. Okay, I'm going to revisit that. I'll let you know what I decide. So, skein number 2 that I got for myself was this gorgeous skein of yarn. This is called Woodlands. Again, it's the Authentic Sock Base by Lisa, and this just screamed Seaver to me, my boyfriend. He is a big outdoors guy. He hunts and fishes and likes to be, he chops wood. I mean, he's just like, loves to be outside, and he likes to be self-sufficient as much as he can be, and just if he could spend every day out in the woods just doing his thing, he would. So Woodlands reminded me of him, and these colors, the hunter green in there, there's some brown and tan, and then there's this pop of don't know if you can see it. I don't think you can. Let's see. I'm going to go down here and see if it'll pick it up. There's a pop of like maroonish red that's in there. And this just has to become socks for him. See, there it is. You can see it there. I've knit socks for him a couple of times, and it hasn't been cold enough to wear them. I knit some right as the weather was getting warmer, which wasn't probably the smartest idea. But, so I'm not 100% sure if he's going to wear them a lot, but I don't know. Part of me just doesn't care. I just want to knit him something, and in this colorway, because I thought about this for a day. I went home, I pondered it, I came back, and I set it aside. It was haunting me. It needed to come home with me. So that was purchase number 2 on my part. Purchase number 3 was kind of a last minute decision, and this was kind of for nostalgia's sake, I would say, but I ended up buying one of her Lisa's minis in the lavender sea glass colorway. I wish you could see that color clear, but it has the base is like a lavender, pretty soft lavender color, and it's just speckled with these teals and browns, reds. There's Lisa's her tag, and I'll put her website down below too. But she did a series of these for this summer. She did skeins, sock blanks, and minis in like four different colors. So she had like a blue, a mint green, a peach, and a lavender, and it was all sea glass inspired. So it was these speckly skeins. And I got this primarily to put a square in my Cozy Memories blanket, because I don't know, I know this is something that she's not going to be repeating, and it reminds me of this last summer being in Winona and being at the shop, and yeah, I couldn't not have one of these, and I didn't necessarily need a full skein. She didn't have any of the lavender full skeins. She did have a sock blank left, but since I was getting the other two, I figured, I didn't need a full skein, but I just wanted to have a little piece of it. So I think that is just gorgeous. And she might have some left. You never know. She was out of a few of them. She was out of like the blue, the light blue, and she was, I think, out of the mint green too. But I can't remember fully. There was a lot of yarn, and I was kind of overwhelmed with it all. But so yeah, I'm excited to have that. So the other things that I added to my stash this week were not purchased by me. They were given to me by some lovely, lovely people. So last week when I had my last day at Yarnology, we let everybody know, in the newsletter, I think like at the beginning of the month or in the middle of the month, that my last day would be August 31st, which was last Thursday, and we invited people to come and say goodbye if they wish to, or just stop by. We did let people know that we were going to have some treats, and that Thursday night we're open until 8 o'clock. So we were able to kind of have a little get-together. And some really, really sweet people brought me cards and brought me treats and things that they had made. It was just really, really special. Most of the things people brought me were handmade, which just, I don't know, it makes a gift so much more special when you know that that person made that by hand. And I will have those things to remember some of my friends by. But there were some people who brought me yarn. So I had an Instagram story about this, and I promised I would talk about it on the podcast. So I had a lot of I didn't bring all the gifts that people brought me down, but I did bring the yarn and then one other thing. So my friend Sarah brought me some Regia sock yarn, and I have actually knit a pair of socks out of this colorway that's on the tag in the snowflake pattern. But I absolutely love this colorway with the blues and the tans. Obviously this is like totally me, so I'm really excited about that. I think that Regia is some of the best commercially made sock yarn, and I love the self-patterning. I have a few of the Arnett and Carlos patterned skeins, and yeah, so this is going to be a really, really fun addition to my sock yarn collection. So thank you, Sarah. And this one was brought to me by Nancy, the lovely Nancy. Hi, Nancy, if you're watching. Today was Wednesday and I wasn't there. So Nancy and her friends usually come every Wednesday morning, and I always worked Wednesdays, of course. And today was the first Wednesday when I am not working at the shop. So yeah, I hope you thought of me. I hope you toasted me with your coffee then. So Nancy told me that I was not allowed to consider this a gift. She said that she had it in her stash and she didn't think she would ever use it. It wasn't colors that she was really crazy about. And she, of course, notices the colors that I knit with because she saw me at Yarnology. She watches the podcast. So she thought she would kind of regift it, give it a new home. Although I am considering this a gift, Nancy. I'm sorry, but it's gorgeous. It's so soft because it's an MCN base, merino cashmere nylon, and these colors, oh my gosh. You guys, look at that. This is from Darn Yarn, Minnesota, and this reminds me of a field in the summertime. You've got the bright yellow from all the goldenrod and black-eyed Susans and daisies that are all springing up on the sides of the roads or the edges of the fields. Again, like I said, my boyfriend's family's farm is organic. They do not spray pesticides, and so you have this just gorgeous array of wildflowers and grasses and beautiful things all around their fields and their farm, in the ditches, in the, on the edges of the woods. It's just gorgeous. And so that's what the yellow reminds me of. Then we have some, let's see, we have some green. You can see there. Well, this whole spot over here is green too. So that's like, the grasses and all that stuff. And then we have a little bit of, let's see, I can't see what you're seeing. There we go. We have some blue in there, and that reminds me of the bright summer skies. So this to me is the perfect summer colorway. I love it so much. There you go. Oh, that's really good. Here, let me hide my face. Maybe it'll focus on it. I love it so much. So this is a fingering weight yarn. It's an MCN base, like I said, and the colorway is Toak, Toak, and there's 435 yards on it. So there's the information on that, and then there's Chelsea's information down there. So yeah, Nancy brought this to me, and I could not love it anymore. It's like she picked it out specifically for me from Chelsea's website. So thank you, Nancy. I love it. So the last skein of yarn that I was given is also very, very special. This is from my friend Sam, and Sam went down to, she visited Unwound Yarn Shop, which is the yarn shop in La Crosse owned by Carolyn and Kate, and Lisa has yarn there as well. She sells her sock blanks, she sells some fiber, and she sells self-striping hand-dyed sock yarn. And Sam saw this skein of yarn, and she said that she thought of me, that this was me in a skein of yarn, which I couldn't agree more with. This is a self-striping skein of Three Sisters Fiber Company, and it is this denim blue, but then the stripes in between the blue are going to be speckled. I love it. So you can see it has, you know, a white background and pink, brown, green speckles in there. I love this so much. I opened it and I think I squealed. I'm pretty sure I squealed. I have never knit with Lisa's self-striping sock yarn before, and especially it's Lisa's. Oh, it's getting a little windy out here. And B, it was picked out especially for me. And C, it was given to me as a goodbye present. And it was bought at my friend's yarn shop. So everything about this skein of yarn is special to me. And this colorway is called cut-offs, as in like cut-off jeans, which is adorable and completely fitting. And I did not wind this up purposefully. I was going to, like, that night, like 20 minutes after I opened this, I'm like, I have to wind it up. I have to get into a cake. And then I decided, no, I have plans of what I want to knit from now until for the next few weeks at least. And if I get some of those things done, the next time I visit Winona, which is going to be 3.5 weeks from now, 2.5 weeks from now, the last weekend in September, I'm going to go up there and visit, and if I feel like I need to cake this up, I will bring it with me. But I knew that if I did cake it up, I would not be able to wait. So I left it as it is, because I have my fall socks to knit, and I have my mom's blanket to knit, and I have to do a shop sample for Yarnology that I need to really start, like, yesterday. But that'll be fun. So I have that to knit. I'm good for a while. But this just, so good. So good. Okay. So the last thing I'm going to show you that was given to me don't worry, it's not anything. I think they're just testing a siren. Because while it's a little cloudy, there's nothing going on. Seriously? Okay, it works. I hope this doesn't wake Seaver up. It is noon. They don't do this every day at noon. That would be ridiculous. I am so sorry. How rude. Should I just keep talking? Can you still hear me? Okay, I'm going to show you this one last thing, and hopefully these sirens will stop while I'm talking. Again, I apologize. So my friend Melissa Coleman, we call her Coleman at the shop, she brought me some adorable progress keepers, and she tied them on this ribbon so that I wouldn't lose them, or so that they could just be kept together. But she there's a little teacup and a coffee cup over here. Let's see if I can grab that one. Oh my gosh, they're so little. There's a coffee cup. There's a frozen yogurt container because it's kind of a tradition on Thursday nights. There's a frozen yogurt place right down the street from Yarnology, and so a lot of people go over and get frozen yogurt on Thursday nights, and once in a while I will indulge as well. So that kind of reminds me of that. And then these are just really pretty like jewels next to there. And then she brought me a honeybee because she knows that's pretty special to me. And a yarn ball. Finally! That was like a full 2 minutes. Honestly, it was. That was like a full 2 minutes of siren for no apparent reason. Okay, so yeah, she brought me these beautiful progress keepers, and they're all sort of just mushed in there, but oh jeez. Anyway, you get the point. I'm not very talented at showing these. So yeah, those were really special. And she also brought me some crocheted little baskets that she had made, which are super cute, and they're on my the railing right above the stairs right now. So I'm waiting to put little trinkets or whatever I find to put in there, so that's really exciting. And then I got some other really beautiful things from a lot of people, and just cards, well wishes, good lucks, just I felt so incredibly lucky and blessed that day. And even though it was sad to be there on my last day, it kind of really made the day so special to get to talk to people and just connect with them again and, you know, hear their good wishes for us. So thank you to anyone who stopped by. Thank you to anyone who gave me a little trinket or treasure. And I appreciate each and every one of you. And I'm just so lucky to have been able to spend the last almost 7 years at that yarn shop, because it has given me friends and family alike, and yeah, it's so special. So thank you. Okay, that's all the knitting content. I hope you all had a fabulous weekend. Here in the States, it was Labor Day weekend, so if you had the day off on Monday, I hope you had a really good time. I hope that you spent it with family and friends. Where I was, I actually spent the weekend down in Illinois with my family, and it was so special. Also, my best friend from high school, I got to see two of my best friends from high school. They were both home in our hometown, and that was the most incredible thing to spend time with them. And then I got to spend time with my sister and her family, my mom and my stepdad, and it was a fabulous 3 days. Yeah, I couldn't have asked for anything better coming off of my last week of work, my last couple days of work. It really cheered me up. It really made me forget about maybe being a little sad about leaving, and took my mind off of things. I got to relax a little bit after, you know, the move and the stressors that come with that. I didn't really do much in the ways of sending out job applications this weekend, but that's my plan for this week, for today and tomorrow. And then this weekend, Seaver and I are going to be going up to northern Wisconsin for a little kind of vacation, so I'm really excited about that. But yes, I hope that your weekend was fabulous, and I hope that your week so far is going just as well. It's Wednesday, so you're halfway through, and you only have a couple more days left until the weekend, so that's exciting. And I hope that in the meantime you do things that make your heart happy, whether that be knitting or crocheting or spinning or anything to do with fiber, anything to do with crafting or art. Read a book, light a candle, just, you know, spend time with those you love, and yeah, I will hopefully talk to you very, very soon. Thank you so much for watching. If you're a returning viewer, I appreciate you. Every time you come back here, it's just amazing. So thank you, thank you, thank you so much. To those of you who are watching my podcast for the first time, thanks for clicking on it. Thanks for checking it out. I hope you liked this episode, and if you did, please give it a big thumbs up. If you'd like to subscribe to my channel, that would be great. I have gotten a few new subscribers lately, so that's really exciting. And yeah, I'm just so thankful for all of you. So thank you for tuning in, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.